Yes, good evening. Welcome to Football Heritage TV for the daily transfer update with a twist. Brought in some guests, didn't we? Brought in some guests from all over the world. Well, three of us, I guess, are from London, way kind of, and then we've got Jacob as well. Jacob, how you doing, man? From United Spurs of America. How you doing?
All good here. Chewy's sleeping, and if the dog is sleeping, everything must be good in the home. So, just need us. I need those three little words, and I'm not talking "I love you." I need them three little words, and I think y'all know where I'm going with it. Once I
Yeah,
get
man.
that, I'll be a lot better. I would like to see. I like some of the stuff I'm seeing, but liking some of the stuff that I'm seeing is not enough. But I think there's some hope on the horizon. So I'm doing good. I'm too blessed to be stressed. I hope y'all are as well. Thanks for the invite.
No, absolutely. Anytime, and then we'll get into the three words we want to hear shortly. We'll save Alex till last. Alan, how you doing? You good? I'm loving the mustard wall. It's looking
Love the
good.
mustard ball with a white door, changing it up. It's moved around
Yeah.
because hopefully within a couple of months the mustard and all that's gone. Hopefully we'll see. Well, who knows? I agree with Jacob. By the way, I'm waiting to hear those three words. Daniel Levy out. Yeah, but I can't wait for them words to hit to the Twitter sphere and obviously for it to come true. But until then, here we go. Hopefully we'll get the horizon sometime soon. Typical Spurs though. Taking the mick, but we'll get into that at some point during the show. I didn't want to go after box office, so thanks for letting me go first.
Well, last but not least, Mr. Box Office, who he knows his team. He's going to teach us about his team. How are you, bro? Are you well? You're on mute. You're on mute.
If you hear somebody in the background, I'm in different, so I do apologise firstly straight away. But yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. I don't need Tottenham to make me feel good because I've been waiting to worry about that anyway. So you know what I mean. So I'm really good, to be honest with you. And looking forward to the stream, and thank you for inviting me, Savva. I'm looking forward to getting straight into it.
Always. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Alex's camera and his sound, and he's changed rooms, but we're going to crack on. Guys, the transfer window is open, and it does feel very much at the moment that all the news coming from anywhere seems to be coming from, I'm going to call it White Hart Lane. I know it's not, but it seems to be coming from Tottenham. Dragusin, to Debo news, people talking about Conor Gallagher, Højbjerg possibly leaving, Dyer leaving, Larissa's gone, Reguilon's coming back, then going straight out, and Don Belle's returning in about 5 or 6 days. Jacob, it's all happening without anything happening, right? It's one of those weird stages in the transfer window.
And I pulled an Alex. Sorry about that. I was on mute. My son is getting upset in the living room, so I'll mute myself so y'all don't hear that. And I forgot. Apologies about that. Look, I haven't seen anything about the Ndombele returning in 5 days. That's actually that's not great to see. But you know what? It is what it is. It
might not be 5 days, Jacob. I just know that he is returning
at
very,
some
very
point
soon.
That's the rumors
from not playing over there in Turkey.
You know, I don't know how much we all expected him to have success over there, but outside of that, look, Hugo Lloris leaving, that's one of the names that we had on our list. I think every Spurs fan has a wish list of people to leave soon, ASAP, as soon as possible, with or without replacement. And he was one of those. We already found his replacement. He said he wanted to be here, to see the next goalkeeper be here who's going to last us for the next 10 years. And I think he did his part. So thank you, Hugo. I'm looking forward to seeing him play for LAFC. Honestly, that'll be quite interesting. But look, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. And I think I look at January's previously, the Bentancur and Kulusevski one, the Pedro Porro one. Those were all done. Pedro Porro lasted the entire month. The entire month it was checking Fabrizio every single day. What's up with Pedro Porro news? Anything on Pedro Porro news? And now it's much like that, but we're at the advanced stage already. We're at the advanced stage in the first week of January. So to me, at least we're there, and it's not the last week of January. We're in the first week of January, and we're there with at least one deal. My hopes are there's been at least enough rumors rumbling about there's a Sassuolo winger, Antonio Nusa from Club Bruges. There's all type of different players that we've been linked with winger wise, and in some key areas in which we all know as fans that we want to fortify. But center back is number one. I think in the summer that was still everyone's biggest. We didn't. Yes, we got Van de Veen, and even if he's a surefire starter, that doesn't mean that that's all that we need. We need someone else behind. We need a third center back. You have to have a rotation, in my opinion. So to see the fact that we're getting the likes of a young Dragusin, obviously well enough to go to Juventus at some point, end up in Genoa, play for Serie A. So he's not a complete, just because I don't know him doesn't mean he's a nobody. And if anyone, I need his agent as my hype man is what I would say lastly. I need Dragusin's agent as my hype man. I need him promoting our channels like that because I think he's driving up quite the pretty penny for his guy.
I mean, he is indeed. Alan, let me come to you. I mean, let's start as we mean to go on with Dragusin. Lots of people probably wouldn't have seen him play unless they do tune in and watch Serie A every now and then. But it's been... I almost never want there to be a straightforward transfer at Spurs because it gives us so much to talk about. And there was... To Debo, we were deep in conversations with them. That went away. Dragusin... Romano has been itching to say, here we go, for about 4 days now. Then it turns out last night that his agent has come out and said, oh, he doesn't want to leave mid-season. Romano and Ornstein are telling us that he's actually signed personal terms and agreed everything and he wants to join. And then today, we're 7 million euros apart. Is this just a Tottenham Hotspur transfer? This is just the signs of what we do.
Yeah, it is the signs of what we do, a complete and utter mess and a shambles. It's nothing that's ever going to go away with Spurs under this ownership. But look, it's one of them where his agent's going to come out and say this to try and get more money. It's what they do. So of course he's going to say that. He's going to try and get every penny that he can from it, and that's what they do. You could argue that they're pretty much cancer to football and obviously doing dealings and stuff like that just because they're all like out for themselves and want to get more money. It is what it is. Dragusin, look, I don't watch Serie A. I don't claim to know every player, but since we've been linked with him, I've looked into him. And if you're asking me, would I rather him come in, who is going to be below Romero and Van de Ven, or sit here for another year watching Eric Dyer, Emerson Royale, or Ben Davies? I would rather watch reruns of the Teletubbies than watch them three in defence. So I just can't stand them in a club. So I would rather somebody come in who is going to be underneath them, but the drop off's not so bad to seeing that type of horrendousness in the central defensive part. Because, like I said, this with all the injuries and suspension we've had, the midfield's cope because we've had strength and depth. The attack's still been scoring. The defense is where it's down because the drop off is so severe. So look, at times you're going to have to pay the money that's asked for. I'm sorry, 25 to 30 million, whatever it is that we're going to end up paying for him, is not a ridiculous amount of money. If it was 50 million, I would agree. Fair enough. It's going to take time. But apparently the Saliba one's been pushed to the back burner because we don't want time. We can't waste time in getting somebody in. So the Dragusin one, I don't want it to be dragged out. If we're going to not do the Saliba one because it's going to take time, you have to do Dragusin and get him in as soon as possible. But as typical Spurs, all these caveats as to why it isn't getting done and yada, yada, yada. And we're just sitting here with our thumb apart to say and just not doing it. So it's just one of them typical Spurs transfer windows.
I mean, yeah, Alex, let me bring you in here. I mean, there's two ways of looking at this, right? I mean, the first thing is we were first in talks, I believe, depending on whether we believe Romano or whether we believe Dragusin's agent. Dragusin's agent is talking as though we've been in chat with them for a couple of weeks. Would you expect Tottenham to get a deal for, I mean, it's £25.9 million, by the way, is 30 million euros. It's nothing. Would you expect a deal like that to be done really, really quickly? Or are we all worrying about nothing because it is only the 3rd of January? Where are you at with this?
For me, I don't really enjoy this whole back and forth and knowing what's going on. All I want to know is when the deal's done. That's just me. That's just me. I don't, and for me, I'm tired of getting angry about it now. To be honest with you, I don't really care as long as the deal's done. One thing I don't agree with Alan saying at the moment for me, this guy needs to come in and compete with Romero and Van de Ven. For me, there's none of this understudy thing, none of this. You know what I mean? Because this is what we've had the problem with the last couple of defenders we brought in already. You know, so for me, I like to see him compete with those two. You know what I mean? So we've got competition for the places, and that's it. But on the deal, I'm not surprised by it. I don't really make it. It doesn't make me angry about it. The only thing I'll get annoyed with is if it's going on for the whole month, and that's it.
Right.
Okay. And another thing I don't like about this as well, ever since we started being linked with this guy, and it was coming about that we're going to get this done quickly. Oh, we need to give Daniel Levy credit, and I'm sitting there saying, why?
He's
Why
not done
doing
it
his
yet.
job? He's doing his job.
Yeah.
First, he's doing his
Yeah,
job.
Yeah.
First, he's doing his job, so I don't think he needs credit, and he gets enough credit for everybody pays the ticket to go to the games every single week. So I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. So I don't really get that, but for me, I don't really get angry about it anymore. To be honest with Savva, I don't like the whole back and forth anymore. I just want to hear the deal gets done, and then we can just get on with it, and that's it. And move on to the next thing, and that's it for me. Because I mean, I think someone said it really important. I think I've listened to someone earlier today. They said, well, January transfer window is not difficult. It's a very important window. If we want to get Champions League, I'm not bothered about Champions League, but it's important to get ahead of your competition. And if you want to win the title, which Tottenham Hotspur are in kind of a positive position. I'm not saying we're in the title race because I don't think we should be, but
Oh, you said
you know,
you said we were last week. You
yeah,
said we
yeah,
were in a title race
I
last week.
did say that, but I did caveat saying that it's a bang average league as well, didn't I say that as well? I did say that as well.
Hang on. So we were in a title race. Since then, we've won our game that we've played, and now we're out of the title race.
Well, no, listen. I say, no, I'm not flip flopping. I said technically we're in a title race because it's a bang average league. Because I don't think we should be anywhere near it. So it's not me bigging it up and saying, oh, we're in the title race and jumping up and down. I'm saying, for me, I'm like so close to the top because I don't think we've been that great. You know what I mean? But looking at it from overview of it. Like, if you want to make an impact, you get those signings in, you could make an impact and try and do something. For me, there's no way we're going to be nowhere near that. You know what I mean? I think it's only Champions League or Europa League for us. You know what I mean? But it's Man City's to lose as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, but with the signings you can make, they can make a big impact. Like, for instance, those rejects from Juventus, Kulu and Bentancur. Look how much of an impact they did under Conte. You know what I mean? I didn't even like them, to be honest with you. So, you know what I mean? So it can see what impact it can make.
That's Jacob's favourite saying is Bentancur.
Oh, no.
Second favorite.
Second favourite. Sorry, I should know. Yeah, second favourite. But okay, so let me.
Said.
Go on.
I've said it on my show, and I've said I want the Spurs to buy players to come in and displace the first team. But you've also got to be realistic with it. If we were signing to Todibo, I would say Todibo can come in and displace and literally be on that. Dragusin will come in. He won't go straight to the first team, but he can work towards displacing. He's a much higher quality than what we've got. So I agree with you. I'm not saying that, but it's just being realistic in the fact that Dragusin is under the level. Todibo would be the level of the players we've got for me. So I would expect Todibo to come in and displace and interrupt and obviously push somebody out and have that. But I think Dragusin is just a level under.
No, I'm not having a go at you.
No, I'm just saying I agree with you. No, I agree.
I hear you.
I want people to go above because under Poch, it was always we can't disrupt the first team or the first team's too good. Who can get in there? But we never won anything. So I don't want us to fall in that.
I agree with you.
But if we are getting to this, we could be under.
Let me ask then. I mean, on this point, Jacob, for me, as Spurs fans, what we do talk about a lot is, some of the sayings we hear, and I know Alex is going to be on the same page with me. This is, but who comes and sits on a bench? But who does he replace? But will he get any minutes? Isn't the key thing here that if we do want to hit the City levels and the Liverpool levels and these clubs that have won multiple trophies, that don't we as a club and as a fan base need to get that out of our minds and have, right, these are our selection of centre-backs. Now it's up to the manager to pick the two that are in form and the two that are doing well. Because and people have a go at me, Jacob, because I talk about Man City a lot, but they are the benchmark. Man City, it doesn't matter what centre-back pairing they pick. I don't see anybody ever going into meltdown. It can be Ake and Diaz. It can be Stones and Akanji. It can be Vardial and Diaz. Don't Spurs need to get to that stage where we're not so fixated on, well, it's Van de Ven, Romero, and everyone else just has to play second fiddle?
I think in any successful team, you have to have people that supplement the starters, the people who you would slot in immediately to your 11. And look, when you talk about Dragusin, whether he could play or unseat, I saw someone saying he can unseat Romero's position. Like, I don't even think it's about that. I think the better quality players you train with, the better player you're going to end up being as well. So having Dragusin in, playing against our forwards, playing alongside our other center backs is only going to make everyone around him better, whether it's Todibo, whether it's Dragusin. So for me, I've kind of agreed with your sentiment there that I've heard you say before on numerous streams, Savva, which is, you want to have depth at every position. It's not a hard sell to say you are going to get playing time. I know it's like we have one game a week, but if we actually do make a FA Cup run and then we do finish out this season strong, next year is going to be a very, very busy schedule. And there's still going to be international breaks. There's still going to be players leaving for different whatevers. So every club, and then there's injuries. And, as much as I was enjoying our journey this season, I knew at some point the damn doors were going to fall off of the car. We were going to face turmoil, and we hit it. We hit the problems, and we hit them hard, and we've gone through them. And to me, think about how much better we could be if it wasn't Emerson Royale and Ben Davies starting as center back. If it was Dragusin and some other kid I've maybe never heard of that our analytics and our scouting department has led us to. I'm also one for, I would trust what the people in positions we've put in jobs to do those jobs that we've put them in.
Sure.
This is their first year for Johan Lange, Scott Munn. It's time for the tires meet the pavement, so to speak. So you've got to get it right. And as Scott Munn, Johan Lange, they're not going to try and mess up their first, but fumble their first and get some guy who's actually not going to work. And I've seen a lot of the things about Dragusin, like, oh, he wouldn't come in and play, like what you're saying, he won't play on the bench, or he can't pass this, that, and the other. To me, this is outside perspectives giving their opinions on what they don't know. And what they don't know is what Ainge has said. Did we think Ainge was going to be the persuasion factor in signing James Maddison? No, we thought James Maddison, once Newcastle came in, they have UCL. Clearly, he's going to go to Newcastle. Well, there's factors and there's things, and clubs around the league, and you may even say people who just admire the Premier League have taken note of what Ainge has done. I have people, Real Madrid fans, they only watch La Liga, texting me, "Oh, your manager's doing bits, huh? I'm hearing this and that coming out of it." So there's been a transformation in how I think players are even viewing coming here. They know that playing one game a week, all these players are tired and can't even complete. Ainge said after Brighton, when we got our ass whooped, he said, these players are tired. They're not sharp. They're not doing well. And they can't, that's just what it is at this time of the year, And to me, that's kind of weird because you have one game a week and, maybe two every 10 days. That's not that much in the grand scheme of things. If you look at like big clubs competing on all fronts. But so that would lead me to believe that the system is going to keep you very tired. Thus, you have to keep refreshing. I think on a week-to-week basis, it's going to be, what is the best partnership here? Think about even getting Dragusin in, that now lends you to maybe Van de Ven can drift out as a left back and cover for Udogie if he needs a break because he was tired versus the last game. Now we've got an option. And there's something else I've heard you say that I've referenced as well, that Ainge has said it, Ainge likes players that are versatile and can play multiple positions. And I think when you get players that can play, and Dragusin, by all accounts purposes, looks like he can play right center back and left center back. That he doesn't
and he
really
can
have
play right
preference.
back. He's played right back as well. So if you think about it, right, you've got Romero that can play in a back three or a back two, and in the odd occasion has played at right back. Van de Ven is comfortable at left back and is obviously a centre half. Dragusin can play centre half and right back.
Specimen, Van de Ven. Just an absolute specimen.
He is. But Alan, I keep reading in chats that people keep saying about Dragusin's passing and stuff. I think a lot of people seem to be talking about a player they've not seen play, because I've watched him play. Never have I watched him play and gone, oh, your passing is awful, right?
Yeah.
He's got a good array of passing.
Yeah.
So are we doing that thing again? I saw people do this with Van der Ven. We saw people do this with Vicario, where everyone's an expert on a player before they've actually joined the club. Do we just need to let the recruitment team crack on with it?
Look, yeah, we absolutely do. The thing that I like is obviously these two defenders that we were linked with, Todibo and Dragusin, were highlighted quite, so it's not like we're just going, Todibo didn't happen, let's fast about for 30 minutes, like for 30 days and then find somebody else. So Dragusin's being brought in for a reason. Now, I had queries about his passing as well. And I said about his short range passing apparently has been suspect, and we're going to play out from the back, so that's where he could be caught. But Sean, obviously, on my show on Friday night that you were a part of, Savva, he dispelled that basically and just said it's not as bad as people say this and the other. So, look, he's being brought in. If he's been identified by Ange that he can play in his system and play how he wants to, then I'm not going to second guess that until I see it. I think he's better than what we've got. When he comes in, you can then get quite a good idea of how he is, like a couple of games in, whether he's good at playing out, whether it's a weakness and all that. You can spot these things with a player. But at the moment, I think people are, because it's not the Todibo signing, I think people are falling into the trap that I did with Vicario. Because it wasn't a bigger money signing, he's not good enough. He's got this weakness, he's that weakness, he's too slow. I mean, yesterday, I'd done a show by myself just talking about it, and I got told, well, he shouldn't fit an Ange system because he's not quick enough. Okay, but does everyone have to be quick enough? If you're a good defender like he is, your position better, your anticipation's better, right, and then you do all this type of stuff. It's one of them things where I think people always try and find a reason to knock a signing because it's not the big money signing or the bigger name.
I agree.
I feel foul to that in the summer. So until I'll let him come in, I'll see how he does. And then I'll judge him based on that. But I'm just going to let Ange do his business because, like I said, if you let him do what he wants and get the players in for his system, he brings the success down the line. He really does.
And but that's part of the thing, right? Is that we got to trust these guys to do their jobs. If they're scouting Tapsoba and Van de Ven, you got to imagine that in either scenario, they're saying one of these guys is going to fit the role in which we're going to put them at. And so for me, when it's Todibo and Dragusin, and I look at the numbers, the numbers tell me, oh, Jean-Claire, he does over 100 touches per match with over 90% passing accuracy. That tells me it's a center back like Romero who likes to control the ball, distribute the passing, and really dictate play that way in a team that plays out of the back. Now, when Dragusin's numbers don't reflect that, I think that's where the people automatically jump on, oh, well, he's not a passer because it's not like the other guy. And there were differences and similarities between Tapsoba and Van de Ven, but at the end of the day, I think sometimes people, what they assume a price tag on a player can help dictate their opinion on a guy, and that's not always necessarily the case, in my opinion.
But don't you think as well? Don't you think as well that Alex? I'll bring you in here. Off that point, I think sometimes what we do is we look at stats so deeply. By the way, there's only 78 likes, which is shocking. That's a shocking stat right there. That's an abysmal stat. Smash that.
Richarlison 5 of 5. We need to be hitting Richarlison numbers on the likes.
I mean, he wasn't my go-to for good stats, but okay,
I just want to throw that out there.
Richarlison numbers. Alex, I'll bring you in here for this. I mean, what Jacob is saying is relevant because we look at stats so much that what people don't realize is Todibo is coming from a team, or if he was coming from a team that play out from the back, right? Dragusin plays for a team that don't play out from the back. So his passing out from the back and the stats can't be compared to a Van der Ven, a Romero, a Todibo, because it's not the way they play. It's like comparing the number of passes Rodri would make for Man City with a player like Højbjerg in a Antonio Conte system where we don't have a lot of the football. So do you think we're looking into somebody from West Ham, where they don't have the ball a lot? Do you think we're looking into stats way too much now?
I think you're taking the words out of my mouth. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm just not that well inclined, Savva. I don't get it. I go on what I see, and I think everyone has hit the nail on the head. Listen, for me, how he goes, I'm always about the short term, but also about the long term as well. How they develop throughout the years. And that's it, how they get better. That's my problem with players now. I don't think they get better, and they don't develop even better to develop the game better, and that's it. But you know, I can't disagree with everyone on the panel. To be honest with you, I think stats. I think stats is ruining the game. I've got to be honest. I'll be honest with you. I think people are just getting lazy. If I'm really honest with you,
Technically, stats have always been there. It's just the way that we've looked at them has changed.
I just think people are just being lazy because they don't have their own judgment. They're worried about getting bantered because they don't have their own opinion.
Well, for me, when I bring up stats about Jean-Claire Todibo, I don't watch Ligue 1 very. That's not actually broadcasted in America, so I can't watch this guy. All right, so when I reference stats, it's typically because I don't know. Like when I reference Spurs, Romero, different players, and I defend them, I hardly ever look at stats outside of goals and assists and wins and points. But when I don't know how to look at. How am I supposed to look at Tobido if I don't know what and then I compare his numbers with other numbers? I agree to an extent. Stats without context are just numbers, but when you provide the context, it tells you a part of the story. And I've always been of the mindset that stats give you this side of it's just like in any scenario, right? If I tell a story to Alan and then Alan tells that same story to Alex tells that story to Savva tells it to 4 more people, and we do that over and over, it changes. And so I think that can happen as well. And with stats and with eye test, you merge them together. And I think that gives you the most eloquent picture of a player, of a team, rather than just saying, oh, the stats say one thing, so that's got to be what it is. My eyes tell me one thing.
I've got to be honest, Jacob. No disrespect to you, mate. I understand where you're coming from. Yeah,
I don't think it's lazy that I don't get League 1 broadcast in America. It's not my fault.
I just think it's lazy because the thing is, though, if we're able to, if there was no restrictions on showing what was on the pitch, what we seen, you know what I mean? I don't think stats will be in the question right now. To be honest with you, you know what I mean? I think because there's so much restrictions on what you see now on videos and stuff like that, because you get copyrighted all the time. That's a problem at the moment. That's why stats are so great now. You know what I mean? If you had more of that, more pictures and what you can see highlights.
I agree. I wish
you wouldn't need it. You wouldn't need it because you can make your own judgment.
Yeah, I think there's by the way, just quickly before I'm going to ask you a question, Alan. For anyone that does follow La Liga, a huge game at the top of the table tonight. Girona at home to Atletico Madrid. And if anyone hasn't watched Girona, please go and watch them play. They are 1-0 up after 1.5 minutes, and they are frighteningly good. And I would go and raid them if I was Tottenham Hotspur. Alan, stats, by the way, PSG are 2-0 up if anyone cares, and Roma are currently 0-0. There's games all over Europe tonight. Alan, the stats conversation, it is an interesting one, isn't it? Because, you know, technically, Jacob is right. The stats have always been there, but it's just we kind of picked and choose what we used. Yeah. And nowadays with Sky Sports and BT, everything's got crazy in terms of what we look at. Do you think that stats are right for the right stats, if that makes sense, but that we've got too many options? Like I saw one the other day that was like progressive threats and things like that. Like what's a progressive threat? Who's making that decision?
They've also done offensive scans when defending Arsenal. When you look at Odegaard's offensive progressive scans, to me sounds like hair flips, but it's neither here nor there.
It's not just that. They lost me with these stats talks. The pre-assist, that lost me. That's just a pass. That is ridiculous how that can even be considered as a thing. The amount of people I've seen going, well, he got the pre-assist. It's a load of BS. It really
What about the hockey assist? You like that? Is that the... You don't like the hockey assist?
Is that the same thing? Is the hockey assist the pre-assist?
Basically, like the guy who passes to the guy who gets the assist, the hockey assist, I like to call it.
I even think some of the actual assists aren't even assists. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if I give the ball, right? If I give the ball to someone who's 3 yards away, I don't know why I'm pointing over there. If I give the ball to someone who's 3 yards away, literally 3 yards away from me, and then they welly it in the top corner from 20 yards. And they go, oh, he's very creative, is Savva. He's got the assist.
Technically,
so
even
that's a Celso. That's a Celso.
Even
if you passed it to Lionel Messi and he dribbled through 6 players and scored, you still get it.
I was about to say that. If you look back under Mourinho, wasn't it Vertonghen that laid it off to Son, who ran 70 yards past 4 balls and scored? That's an assist.
Yeah.
Look,
That's a
Stats,
Puskas winning goal right there.
exactly, and it was. Stats do count towards stuff, but I think it's been so diluted with everyone wanting the new craze or the new way of looking at it. Or, oh, you assess football that way. Look, stats do matter. Goals, assists, clean sheets, save percentage. Some stats matter. Not all of them, but they do. But
Yep.
I basically look at it as the fact that you got to have stats, you got to have eye tests, and for me, it's not just going to end there with eye tests. It has to be performances. You can look good against the worst teams and stat pad and everything like that. If you're performing, this is why I always rate Drogba higher than what people do. Drogba showed up in the moments. He had the stats, he had the numbers, and he had the big performances, winning trophies for Chelsea. That's how I look at football. I try and incorporate it all. So if somebody goes, no, stats aren't important, it's just eye tests. No, it's everything. You've got to include everything. The people that go, oh, if you don't watch the game with your eyes, you don't know football. It's just weird. Look, Dragusin's got the defensive stats from what I've seen. Yet he doesn't play in a progressive or a team that plays out from the back. So that's yet to be seen in how we'll do in a fast-moving team in a fast-paced league like that. But as a defender, when we know that we have Van der Ven and Romero out, we know the defenders we've got in backup aren't good enough defensively, and that's a big boost for us.
Sol Campbell,
absolutely,
a great defender, a great passing player, but he was a great defender. Sol Campbell wasn't. Sol Campbell wasn't a great passer, but he was a great defender, and everybody loves it. Sol Campbell, yeah, I mean,
I'll tell you. Do you know what?
I can say
Alex,
his name.
Do you know what?
I'm
with you. I'm with you. It was so long ago.
Name.
Sol Campbell. Do you know what? Do you know how good Sol Campbell was?
Yeah.
Because we still hold a grudge.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
If right now Eric Dyer, right? If Eric Dyer signed for Arsenal this window, no one cares. Do you know what I mean? No one cares. It was because please Arsenal, please take Eric Dyer.
I didn't mean to do those fireworks. I didn't even mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that.
Fireworks.
Hey, you tell me.
My screen doesn't do that. I don't know what's going on.
You want an apple? It's an apple. Yeah, I think it's apple.
No, I'm not. I've got a HP big old monitor thing. But look, obviously the whole point of this conversation wasn't all about stats, but I do feel now like I've seen some shows in the last couple of days, not Spurs YouTubers, by the way, some generic shows where they're bringing up 4 players. I think they were bringing up 4 players that they thought, who was it that Chelsea, I think were after, Chelsea or Arsenal, and they brought up all their stats, and there were like 20 stats underneath each player, guys, and I was just like, wow, like this is madness, and it was like for a striker, and I was kind of like, hang on. Show me the striker that's got the most goals in the least games, right? Like, surely, where's that gone? Where's that gone of, oh, hang on, he's got better hold-up play. Hang on, this guy's got 19 in 25 games. That's the guy I want in my team. I don't care about the rest of his game. But look, go on, Jacob. Go on, mate.
I was going to say, I think there's 2 different instances here. When you got BBC, ESPN's doing the same thing, Prime Sports here in America with American football is now doing live stats on the field as the game is happening. And I think there's 2 sides of it. One side of it, like us as YouTubers and content creators, etc., we use stats to back up an argument we may have. If there's a stat that says Romero's better than this guy, I'm going to grab that stat. I'm going to use it to my advantage. And that's what's going to happen.
You do.
No, definitely. Of course, when it comes to my guys, I always go to war for the guys, But I think it's a little bit of that. Like, if this stat helps my argument, I'm going to use it. And then from a professional like broadcast standpoint, they're just trying to make it so in depth because it's more conversation, more conversations, more money, and that's all they really care about at the end. But from like a content creator perspective, I would assume it's because this stat necessarily backs up an opinion and that's the thing is I like stats too. At halftime, I'll go and look at our stats in the game because I'm like, okay, I think this player's done this or well or this poorly. And I want to see, are my eyes telling me the truth or what are they telling me? And here's the thing with the stats that I look at, they change at the end of full time. They can have stats at halftime that they necessarily aren't real because the guy made a mistake or whatever. So at the end of the day, we're all just out here trying to make arguments, I think. And if the numbers help my argument, then I'm going to grab those and I'm going to go on platforms and say, look, this is why this so-and-so is better because in X amount of games, he's done this X, Y, and Z. And I agree to an extent. Once it becomes extrapolated, it becomes this really like a superfluous thing in a lot of content creators for me. But
Yeah, listen, absolutely. I mean, look, let's move on from actually before we move on from Dragusin, at the risk of going through a whole massive another conversation about him, we know he's not going to be in situ to play against Burnley in the Cup. I don't think even if he was signed today, I don't think it would have been ready for him to get here tomorrow and then start. When do we believe that this will get wrapped up? Does everyone believe that it will get wrapped up? Because surely even we can't mess about with a 30 million euro defender that we want. Alan's face is the kind of thing that any cynical Spurs fans like, could we mess it up? Could we? When do we expect to see this done?
January 7th. That's
January
my
7th.
cutoff. If it's not done if Dragusin is not in by January 7th, or we don't have a definitive, if it's still this, we're trying to meet halfway, we're trying to do this and that. Like yesterday, anyone who's keeping up with the news, it was all contradicting reports. The agent saying one thing, the club saying another thing, and then Fabrizio saying another. So we had 3 different contradicting reports about what was going on with Genoa, Dragusin, and Tottenham Hotspur. For me, if it's not done by the 7th, I'm actually going to be very, very, very upset, because if we're going to act different, we just hired these new heads. Let them cook. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Alan?
I kind of agree with Jacob. Knowing Spurs, it will be January 7th of 2025. That's when we'll get the deal done.
No, don't say that. No.
That's how Spurs do business. No, look, I think he'll get done in this transfer window. I don't want to put a time frame on it. We needed Porro badly last year, and it took 31 days to get it done. And people go, but he wanted to play in the Cup. That makes Spurs weak and pathetic, letting somebody that you need play in the Cup for another team where they could get injured. We buy players and loan them straight back and all that half the time as well.
So they're playing Friday, are they, as well?
Who? Genoa?
Genoa.
I don't know. No, I'm saying about like letting Porro.
He needs to be in North London by Friday. He has to be.
Final last year, and that's why we waited to the 31st to sign him. And it was
Friday night, Bologna v Genoa, 7:45 in the in Serie A, but it's not the Cup, so we're all right.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's just one of them.
I've just realised what I was like. What? Shut up, Savva.
That's fine. We probably will sign him, but I don't know. Look, my main worry is that I think, look, Van de Ven is coming back from injury and he's tipped back from Man United. I would prefer to see a defender in of ability to help, because I don't want him coming straight back in and doing his hamstring again. I don't want to see that. It can happen, but if we've got nothing but garbage at the back, it's, you're going to have to rely on him. That's why I wanted Dragusin in as soon as possible to get up to speed in training, to help out, to maybe give Van de Ven minutes and ease back into it. But like it's going to happen. It looks like it's going to be him. And for me, I think he'll get done. Knowing us, it could be to the end of next week. Guarantee it's going to take longer than what we think.
Yeah, I mean, Alex, listen, I know you're a cynic when it comes to the ENIC regime. I believe I'll answer this before I ask you, Alex. I believe that he will be at the stadium for Friday night. I've got a feeling that they'll wrap it up tomorrow,
Savva,
and he'll be announced.
Nicely. Yes,
I think he'll be announced Friday before the game. Otherwise, I can't understand what takes 6 to 7 days to discuss for a 30 million euro player. When do you think it's going to get wrapped up, Alex, or don't you?
I think it should get wrapped up as soon as possible for me, because I don't think you can carry on with Emerson and Dyer in defence, because I'm not hearing this excuse with not having the youngsters now. We've left ourselves so short that it's got absolutely ridiculous. It's getting to a point now where you're hearing people saying Emerson played well against Bournemouth, and I heard it from Alistair Golds. I love Alistair Golds as a journalist, but when I just couldn't agree with him on that one, because I thought Doji absolutely, and I can't do it anymore. So yeah, if we're not going to use the youngsters, we need to get defenders in. So for me, it should be now. I mean, the fact that, and it's not Scott Munn and Johan Land who's got this transfer in. It's Parategy that's got this transfer in, which is amazing. Which I don't even know why this guy's still at our club. Don't even know why he's still at our club.
Do we know that? Is it definitely him? I mean,
well, he's still consulting. He's still consulting.
Yeah, but are we saying
it's just phone calls in the bathroom of a courtroom? That's it. Just phone calls in the bathroom of a courtroom.
Are we saying that every time we sign a player from Italy, that Paratici, yes, I know Paratici is Italian, but he's the only football scout and the only football director of football that knows Italian players. Do you know where? Do you see where I'm coming from, guys? It's like people go, "Oh, he's Italian, must be Paratici."
This is the people in the know. These are the people in the know told me say that Paratici is still involved. He knew about this guy.
Was it Kyriakou?
No.
Danny Kyriakou?
I saw a tweet about it. I saw a tweet about it yesterday.
And
I think it was
He
EchoShare.
said that he came from Juventus and he then went to Genoa because he was on loan to Genoa. And then they bought him in the summer, I think it was. If someone can correct me in the chat, I don't know. I'm not great with this. But
I'll look it up for you.
Paratici obviously has got links to Juventus. So there is a link there, isn't there? You know what I mean? And
he was there when they were both there at the same time, I think is what it was.
Yeah, and let's be honest here, right? Levy absolutely loves Paratici. He's in awe of him, right? That's exactly the reason why he's still consulting at Tottenham. I'm still questioning what Scott Munn and
they just bought him this summer
are still doing at the club at the moment. That's where I'm still got my question marks at the moment, because why is Paratici still doing things when you've got the football director at the moment? So this is where I'm confused, but that can be a question for another day. But that's just me at the moment. But yeah, at the moment, for me, to answer your question, to answer Savva's question, hopefully this will get done quickly, because it needs to be done. Because I can't do Emerson anymore. Cannot do Emerson anymore at all. You know what I mean? And Dyer, I don't want to hear excuses, because he's. I don't know. I don't know about you, Jacob. I don't know about you, Alan.
I agree with you. But in regards to what the Don, I changed his name when he became a criminal back to Paratici. So the Don Paratici. All right, this guy. I think we're sleeping on just how intertwined this man is. His feet are so in the ground in Europe, it ain't even funny. I'm talking about in the summer, he went to Club Bruges. Next thing you know, a couple weeks later, we're linked with Antonio Nusa. Isn't that quite interesting? He's hanging out Italy for his vacation. Next thing you know, we're linked with what's that? Armand Loriente, the winger for Sassuolo. So I find it interesting where this man goes. He leaves breadcrumbs, and we start getting linked Jacob, wherever them breadcrumbs were.
Who is in charge? Like this summer, right? We've implemented Scott Munn, Johan Lang. Who's the scout that he brought with him from Villa?
Andrews. I think it's Andrews.
Andrews something. Anyway, someone will tell us in the chat. You've got them and Ange, who notoriously has always done his own scouting, right? But we're hearing that Paratici's still massively involved. Who is in charge of Tottenham's scouting? Does anyone know the process anymore? Who's in charge?
If I would assume to begin to know, which again, I precede that by saying assume, my assumption is, my idea is you get these three guys in a room and they say, all right, out of these 100 players, my data and my representation leads me to these 10. And then he says these 10, and then they see where they all kind of meet in the middle. That's what I would hope for. But if anyone's in charge, I would assume it to be Johan Lange, because at the end of the day, Johan Lange had the final say with Aston Villa. They said he's going to come here and play a similar role, that it's all being taken away from Levy's hands, is what they're leading me to believe. Again, leading me to believe. Not that I mean, we don't know that Levy ain't in on these meetings where they're talking about the 100 assortment of players. He says, oh, which one's free? Which one has 18 months left? We don't know. I'm not privy to that, and I wouldn't pretend to be. But what I would say is, when there is fear of too many chefs in the kitchen, you can't make a dish. I would argue this restaurant ain't been cooking good dishes for some time. The more chefs, the better, in my opinion. More heads in there saying, look at this guy, is the more further away we are from Daniel Levy saying, hey, Ainge, what do you think about this guy? And then Steve Hitchens in the corner just giving a thumbs up. Like, as long as the further we get away from that, the more happier I am. Paratici, as much as he's gotten Emerson's in, he's gotten Papa Matasar's in, he's gotten Destiny Ugoti's in, he's gotten good player Van de.
For me,
I mean,
Paratici's done some brilliant signings. and some dreadful signings as well. But listen, I suppose you could say that for anyone at any club, right? I don't think many clubs get 70, 80% of the transfers right. I think City do, Liverpool tend to. I think the rest of us are all looking at 50-50s.
Yeah,
I just
City
find it
got
very
Calvin
interesting.
Phillips in. That hasn't worked out well. I mean, they won a treble, but like
Yeah.
for Calvin
Yeah,
Phillips,
yeah,
it
I
hasn't
blame
worked out well.
Paratici. I blame Paratici for Nuno, and I blame Paratici for Conte. I blame that because that was the problem from the very, and that's it. So because
But
we had that
Paratici came
problem,
in when we were like 20 days without a manager. So I don't
but
blame that on him.
I blame it on him. I blame it.
Vincent Koran Kulusevski, and then come on.
Yeah. I blame him for him because it came from his mouth. Because we'll never link with him. And ironically, now you see what Nuno's doing at Nottingham Forest, which is not going to work out well for him. At
We're going to
Nottingham Forest,
make you
I'll tell that
proud,
for a
Alex.
fact.
All right.
So,
We're gonna
like,
make you
you know,
proud.
I'm sorry. I just don't. At the moment, I'm keeping calm with it at the moment because we don't know at the moment, but we'll see long term how it works.
I
Because
love you so much, Alex. I truly do.
I don't see this relationship working well. And again, what is Scott Munn doing there? Because I heard nothing from Scott Munn, and he's supposed to be football.
Look,
Scott Munn's allegedly bringing the data analytics, researching, and scouting is what I was led to believe. These again, it's all what I've been led to believe.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Alex is wrong because I don't really know.
I wouldn't expect to see someone in as senior as Scott Munn. I wouldn't expect to see him involved at the level where we would see. I would, you know, it's like when you go to the big companies, the CEOs, the CFOs, they're not involved. You know what I mean? They're not this level. Just before we crack on, there's nearly 300 of you in here and only 129 likes. Guys and girls, come on. You'll never, ever hear me asking for super chats. You'll never, ever hear me asking for people to pay for memberships. It's free. Yeah. I grind my backside off for everyone every day. Shows galore. All I ask is you just a little like for a button. Also, while we're there, there has been George, big up. He's always very, very generous. George has gifted another Football Heritage TV membership. He's done a load this week already. So big up to you, George. I'm not sure who got that.
Big up, George.
Whoever was the recipient, let me know. And thank you very much, George. And off the back of that as well, we've got 2 new channel members. We've got Mazza, who's become a YouTube channel member, guaranteed to get your comments read out. Also guaranteed you could be part of channel member only shows. And also Dan Skyline 1372 as well. So Mazza, Dan Skyline, and George, thank you very much to all 3 of you. I really do appreciate it. And let's smash those likes. I'm going to ask for one more thing that doesn't cost. I am 4 likes. This isn't a milestone, but I'm 4 subscribers away from 12,200. 4 little ones. That's all 4 of us. I hope you 3 have subscribed to me. So please do smash the subscribe button. The link is in the chat. Guys, let's mix up the conversation away from Dragusin and Paratici. Mickey van der Ven. So the news coming out, I'm going to show you actually. I'm going to show you because they put it on Spurs. Bear with me 1 second. Here it is. I've got you have no idea how many screens I've got open. It is madness. Just all different
looking
transfer
like the VAR
stuff.
room in there, huh?
Yeah, it's something like that, my man. It's something like that. So if you look here, you can see here that the Spurs Express posted this earlier that from Paul O'Keefe. It said that Mickey van der Ven, his return to the first team is imminent, which is a good word to hear, imminent. And will make a decision whether to include him in Friday's squad or Man United, barring any late setback. Now, Paul O'Keefe is normally pretty bang on with that type of stuff. Guys, we saw Bentancur come back out of nowhere at the weekend. For me, it looked like we'd rushed him back. It looked like he looked he looked like he wasn't ready. Are we doing the same with Van der Ven? Are we starting to see panic bringing our players back because of the injuries and suspensions?
Bentancur is an isolated incident. That guy coming back, I think what that did is lifted everybody up to get us over the line versus them Cherries. I think if we didn't start him, even if he was on the bench or he was non-existent in the 20, I think we would have drew with. That was my prediction. I had no idea. But when I woke up and I saw Mr. Rodrigo's name in that starting 11, immediately it was just like, oh, we're gonna go get this. And I agree with you, Savva. He was not good. He looked rusty. He looked like a man.
Oh,
who
sorry,
just
I wasn't
came
saying.
back from-
I didn't say he didn't look good, Jacob. I just thought he looked like a guy that we had gone. Please, Rodrigo, please. We've got no players. Can you hobble out there with half a leg? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I just he's when I say he wasn't good, it's not as good as I hold him to the standard of being.
Oh,
which is,
sure.
Which is natural. You're coming back from a double injury. You just got back from an injury, got injured again, and then you
1 year.
just came back again. I mean, I got to imagine it's like walking on the frozen lake, right? You don't know where you take one wrong step, you might fall through the ice, and I understand that, but I think what it did for the squad, that's something that I don't think you can measure. So I don't think he's being rushed back. I would think if you start Van de Ven versus Burnley, yes, that might be rushing Van de Ven back, because I think it was before the Brighton match, there was a press conference Ainge had, and he said that the outlook on Mickey is looking like he's going to return to training soon, but I can't speak on him until I see him on the grass with the first team. And so a week ago, he was not training with the first team. I wouldn't presume him to be starting in any capacity for the next two. This is just my presumption. But again, Bentancur came out of nowhere, so what do I know? But for Van de Ven to not be in training with the first team, I would imagine he would at least give him a little bit of breathing room in that sense. That's my assumption.
Alan. Yeah, no. Listen, I listen. Do you know what? All when we talk, I think that people in the chat need to realize as well. When we talk, it's all our assumptions, right? Otherwise, we'd be experts and wouldn't be on this YouTube channel. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I was an employee of Spurs and had all the answers, I wouldn't
You'd
be here.
be there right now.
I'd be there right now. Just before I come to you, Alan, by the way, Girona 2, Atletico Madrid 1. I've just witnessed Salvio has scored. And I don't know if anyone has seen young Salvio play for Girona. I'm predicting him to be at Man City in 12 months. I'm just putting it out there. Alan, Mickey Van de Ven, needed against Burnley, rushing back. What do you think?
Look, I'll be honest. It feels like I think he's ready to come back from the Man United game, but at what capacity, I don't know. I think the rushing him back is because maybe we're not getting the deal done as soon as we thought we would. I don't want us to rush players back. It's quite clear. I love Bentancur. I think he's a great player. I think he was rushed back because we've kind of really given up hope with Højbjerg and Skip. They're just not good enough. So because of the suspension to Basuma and that, it's rushed him back. And obviously you can see that he's not up to speed. He's not ready. And it's for good reason. Like you said, 8-9 months out for the ACL and then straight away getting injured out for another month or something like that. He's going to be rusty. He's not going to be on the pace. And that's what we saw. I don't, like I said, I want the signing done of Dragusin or whoever comes to defense before that, because I don't want to see players get rushed back. I saw, obviously, people of this era don't really or didn't see it much. Michael Owen was a sensational striker, fast, direct, and stuff like that. Over the years, his hamstring injuries keep going, led to him declining and falling off and not being at the same level. And career short. I don't want to see that happen to Van de Ven, because we haven't got the depth in the squad. We need to rush the players back. It happens at Spurs quite a lot. It's happened with Bentancur for me already. I don't want to see it happen with Van de Ven. I don't want to see it happen with Maddison. I don't want to see him rush.
But you know, Van de Ven's already had one hamstring injury in his career.
Oh, okay.
So, that's obviously going to it goes back to the point we were talking about
the other
earlier,
leg, though.
right?
Yeah.
Of course. No, but my point wasn't about recurring on one leg. My point was the way that you play with a player like Mickey Van de Ven, constantly being the last man, constantly in that foot race. You have to assume, fingers crossed it doesn't, but you have to assume it's going to happen again, right? He's not going to, this is going to happen, isn't it? His hamstrings are going to go because of his speed and the recovery that we play.
And the type of football, right? The type of job he's in the team to do, because he's quick, he's powerful. Literally, the reason why I like Van de Ven so much is he uses his speed to get back, and he's the last man, but he's not rash with it. He is calm, he's composed, he's intelligent,
Yeah.
he knows what he's doing.
I like him.
So I just think, look, again, Spurs took ages to get one defender in the summer, but we got the right person for this. And this is why I'm saying just let Ange do his job. But I don't want to rush Van der Ven back because we haven't filled all the holes that we've got, and it's going to take time. But I don't want it to be like, again, like paper over the cracks just for that thing to just give way again and his hamstring to go or something like that. I fear that once hamstrings go and go on a regular basis, a footballer's career is cut short. I don't want to see that happen. But I just hope, like I say, we get bodies in or get a defender in to help Van der Ven rather than have Van der Ven marshal defence with somebody who's not going to be good enough next to him where he's doing double the workload on a hamstring that could go very quickly again. I'm just worried about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, has anyone else got worries about Van der Ven? I mean, sorry, not as a footballer. Let me make that very clear. Not as a footballer, but that he is such a young age, Alex, and has had a couple of injuries to hamstrings. That is very much why we need Dragusin and maybe one other to come in.
I think it just goes back to the conversation we had earlier. To be honest with you, I was not happy about Bentancur playing on Sunday. What was it, Sunday or Saturday? But yeah, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. I thought for me,
did it give the crowd a lift though, Alex? You were there, right?
Well, yeah, but
did it give the
crowd
a lift?
But again, it goes back on the whole thing about we're relying on too many of our first team. Again, you know what I mean? It's like
my sources inside the stadium said he had the loudest ovation of any of the players when they announced him.
That's the problem with Tottenham fans.
I just want you to speak on the facts, Alex. You were there.
Yeah,
Tell me the truth.
but we can do that. We can do that, Jacob. But the point is, unfortunately, right? You're not helping.
I'm in
the player.
America, and I had a shot of espresso when I seen his name on the lineup. You can only imagine playing alongside a guy like that.
But Jacob, you're not helping the player. Like all I need to say is Sessegnon. Yeah, Sessegnon's got bad injuries with hamstrings. Yeah, he can't recover from it. Yeah, so you're gonna do the same thing with Van der Ven. Yeah, it's a kick in the face to people that were called the class of '92, according to somebody. Yeah, Man United class of '92, the youngsters that we've got. Yeah, what is it, Dorrington and Ashley Phillips. Yeah, who I was told that were very, very good. I was told. Yeah. Right, I'm sorry. I just think it's a load of rubbish for me, and that's why. This is why I don't believe in the hype. You know what I mean? I can't do hype anymore. Yeah, I just can't do it. And for me, it's not.
So what should have happened with Bentancur, Alex? In your opinion, should it be Friday night that we're seeing him?
Yeah, Friday night maybe. Yeah, but I just think for me, I mean, yeah, play him Friday night maybe. Just ease him in. That's what I'm saying at the moment, but it just shows you the lack of what depth we've got, and that's it. And that goes back to what happened in the summer. But I was told that we had a fantastic summer. You know what I mean? So again,
it was a good summer.
I don't think it was a great summer because we still see Emerson and Dyer in defence. By the way, you know what I mean?
But we also got Ainge and James Maddison and Van
so
de
for
Ven.
me, it just highlights the fact that we're not understanding. We're doing it again. Yeah, again, I'm saying that I made, not Sean from Talk Show. Talk Show said that was my saying, by the way, my saying. Yeah,
he's taking that from you, Sean.
Like I said before, yeah, I'm just getting fed up with seeing this. And Van der Ven should not be playing.
Sean, if you're watching, we got copyright going on this show right now. We're doing it again.
It's my saying. It's Mr. Box Office is saying, by the way.
Sean, where are you? I did invite Sean on, by the way, but he's watching the. He's watching the World Darts final. I never know if Alex actually.
He's in the chat.
He's in the chat. I haven't got there yet. But.
Can I just go back to Alex on something? Alex said about the window wasn't good. Look, wasn't great. The window was good because you can't. The amount of problems that Spurs have, you couldn't adjust or you couldn't make changes to every area. You're gonna sort out about a third of it, maybe not even a third, like a quarter, depending on how bad it is. And we know we've got some dross there that we've got to get rid of. Maddison, Van der Ven, who else that came in? Literally Van der Ven, Vicario.
Is this the dross you want to get rid of?
No. That's the core of the team that's been instilled in one transfer window. You got other players that, I'm not ecstatic about in regards to Brennan Johnson. For me, he's just not that guy, but people are saying give him a chance. Fair enough. Obviously, you've got Basuma has been elevated, although he's been a bit of a numpty recently with his red cards. He's been elevated because of the manager that's come in. Obviously, the manager came in as well. You've got improvements there. You weren't going to address everything. Agreed. We probably should have got another centre back in of higher quality than Phillips, a youngster. I want to see these youngsters be given game time. But if you're not going to use them, you want to see better quality come in than the youngsters there. So we didn't address everything. But the amount we had to do, you're not going to address everything. This is where January comes in. You deepen the squad with a Dragusin and somebody else comes in. And then in the summer, you go again to improve.
And continue to clean out that deadwood,
But
Alan.
the issue I have, though, the issue I have, Alan, the issue I have,
Right.
I hear you. It's a fair point what you're making, but don't put this expectation on the youngsters then. Yeah, because that's what I was hearing. I was hearing after Sanchez got sold, we've got the class of 92 in our youngsters, in Dorrington and Ashley Phillips. Yeah,
Okay,
or they're not the class of 92 because I'm not getting any game time at all. He's putting Dyer in, who for
So
me
that
is
contradicts what you're saying. There hasn't been the pressure on those
And by the way,
youngsters, Alex.
people keep on putting apology letters for him. By
How
the way,
are they getting no minutes,
Emerson,
but then all this
who's
pressure?
bang
I don't
average,
understand.
That Udoji had to save his ass how many times? You know what I mean?
4.
And he was
I
man the match,
remember.
other than Lo Celso, who's like the Argentinian version of Tom Carroll. You know what I mean? Honestly, I've never heard that before in my life. You know what I mean? No, it's
Where
true.
did you pluck that from? Tommy
It's true.
Carroll?
Because, like, honestly, even Sammy, do you agree with me? Yeah, the things. I'm sorry to change subjects here.
Go for it.
To another
Go
subject.
for it.
But the point I'm making is some of the stuff I've heard about Lo Celso. Oh, he's so good. Oh, Maddison's gonna have a trouble getting into the team now. Maddison's gonna have so much trouble
Alex,
getting back in the team. I'm like,
No
Lo
one said
Celso
that. No
one.
one said that.
do you know
No one
what,
said
Jacob?
Madison has trouble
Jacob.
getting in after this.
Jacob, you say that. I've seen people saying it in my chat the last few days.
Are you serious?
Now, I like to hope, I like to think that they're being sarcastic. Like, it's the only thing I can think of.
They're
But
not, trying to get a rise out of the people in the chat. I can
it's
see
gotta
that.
be, because do you know what? Listen, do you know what I've said? If we're going to go down the Lo Celso route, right? And you've changed subject, Alex, but it's about Tottenham, so it doesn't matter, right? I don't mind Giovanni Lo Celso as a player. I don't mind him. I think he's a talented lad. But for me, it's just the fact he's been here 5 years. He's super inconsistent. He's made of biscuits. He's constantly injured. And then what we see is he'll get a great assist every now and then, and people go, "Oh, there's a player in there." And I'm like, but we've had him 5 years, and the worry
Is it
for
really
me
5?
is, yeah, this is his 5th season.
It's already 5. Oh
Hotspur.
my goodness!
Right, Jacob, let me give you some. Right, Dyer and Davis are currently in their 10th season each, so that's 20 seasons. Count these for me as we go. That's 20 seasons between them. Yeah. Ndombele's in his 5th season, so that's 25 seasons. Right, if we're going to do it like that. Lo Celso's 5th season. Ryan Sessegnon's 5th season. Right, it's just like, I mean, I don't know, Skip, Højbjerg. Look, I don't know where I'm going with this, but look, I don't mind Lo Celso, but all I said that got people riled up yesterday was, to build a squad, right, you can't just expect the owners to constantly keep ploughing money in. At some point, you've got to sell players to get new players. Girona have gone 3-1 up at home to Atletico Madrid, by the way. You've got to sell some players to get some funds in, right? The problem I have, and I think I probably suspect Alex is on the same page, is whenever you suggest, do you know what, I'd move him on, get some money and go again. Oh, you can't sell him. Okay, what about this player? Oh, no, you can't sell him. What about him? Can't sell him. Who is it that people want sold then to make way for new players that are going to actually get revenue? Because Dyer's going to get nothing, right? Lloris, nothing, right? Who else? Whose contract's ending in the summer, right? For me, I've said I don't mind Lo Celso, but if a bid came in for 25, 30 million for him with 18 months left on his contract, isn't the point of having the scouts is that you go, right, yeah, let's take that. He's got 18 months left and put that towards redeveloping the squad, going again, fresh ideas. Sorry for the rant, but I don't know, Alex, if that's the kind of vibe you were coming with, but it is frustrating.
I agree because the thing is, though, for me, he wanted to leave. He was working to leave to go to Aston Villa. Or go. Yeah, he played well. Yeah, everyone was saying, "Oh, he's good. He could fit in the Ange system." You didn't see him for half a season. Did not see him for half a season. In that Fulham game, he was bang average. in that Fulham game when in the Carabao Cup was bang average. Yeah, all of a sudden now, I think Kulu stepped up more than him. To be honest with you, I'll be honest with you. Even though I think Kulu needs to still improve, and I don't think he can displace. He's not displacing Maddison, even though when he comes back, I think Maddison comes back into the team. Unfortunately, because I think he should be fighting for his place again. But I don't think anybody's better than him. But I think Kulu has been better than him. I think yes, in the number 8 spot, he looks good. But for me, if you can get money for him in the summer, I will sell him tomorrow. Yeah, because for me, you get another player that will fit the system better than him. And
that isn't
also, he's
injured
been
all the
here
time.
too long. He's been here for too long.
Look-
Yeah, I can say that for other players as well. Yeah, for me, Lo Celso has to do 100 times more than what he's doing right now. Honest here, I was heard he was a man of the match against Bournemouth. We got
Oh, this is-
absolutely dominated in the midfield. We got absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the
by
thing is, this
Bournemouth.
is what you get, Alex. You get people like GLC isn't inconsistent. He's been here 5 years, and now what we're going to do is blame every manager. Now, I don't know about you. I've seen Lo Celso play in the number 10 role under both Conte and Jose. That's not on the leash. We can't, every time a player doesn't work out, we can't just say, oh, that was Conte or Jose, because Son under Conte and Jose thrived. Kane was brilliant, right? There are other players that stepped up their game. But listen, I don't know your opinions, Jacob and Alan. I mean, players like Lo Celso, players like Højbjerg that seem to have this following that don't ever want them to leave. Aren't these the players we should be saying, right, you've got 18 months left, lads. Let's move you on. Let's get in some younger, fitter, hungrier players that suit the system.
So the way I see it with Lo Celso, look,
Yes.
Alex, I understand what you're saying, but you can't be disingenuous in regards to that Carabao Cup game. Look, there weren't many that were good in that game. The whole team, the whole 11 was quite bad that game. So you can't just single out Lo Celso. I'm not a Lo Celso fan. I'm on the same wavelength in regards to all I've heard is the reason why he should stay is because he does it for Argentina and he's done it in Spain. He hasn't done it for my club. My club comes first.
Exactly.
But when he's been asked to step in the league in recent games, he's done it. 2 goals, 2 assists. Has he been perfect? No. Has any player been perfect? Not really. So can he work in an Ange system? Maybe. But do I think he's at the level to kick Spurs on? Absolutely not. You can get better than Giovanni Lo Celso. But it's not going to happen in this window. It's going to happen maybe in the summer.
I agree. But this is the thing, Alan. Shouldn't we always be looking? This is the one thing I say. I feel like quite a lot of the time our fans are at loggerheads with their own dreams. Now, what I mean by that is if we want to talk about, I'm not talking about now, but if we want to talk about, we want to win a title under Ange. We want to win FA Cups under Ange. We want to win Europa Leagues, whatever it is under Ange. Yeah. For me, the big clubs never, ever hold on to players that long that haven't worked out or done anything. They move them on. Liverpool, Man City, they move these players on and they go, thank you, but we're going to get some money before it's too late. And then they go again. It feels like our fan base, Jacob, we don't want Lo Celso to go. So many don't want Højbjerg to go. I even said yesterday I would sell Richarlison for 50 million if Saudi came in. Oh, no, you can't sell Richarlison for 50 million. It's like, well, where do we get the money? Where does this money come from to reinvest?
It's about being creative.
In regards to the money, I'm no accountant. I'm all right at Excel sheets. That's about as much as I could do. But when you talk about players, I know you're not on Twitter, but even now that everyone's like, yes, finally Dyer's going to leave. Now that we're at that stage, there's now a weird part of the fan base coming out being like, how dare you want a club legend 350 plus appearances to leave? And to me, I love throwing this question out to rival fans. I was Liverpool, Arsenal, United, City. I say, has there been any player in the history of you being a fan of the sport that you would allow to be at your club for 10 years? Just what career has had a 10-year span
Yeah.
that you're like, give me every single one of those? And the names that you'll hear are not names that should be mentioned alongside Dyer and Ben Davies. So
So you're talking about Harry Kane's, Tony Adams. We're talking about proper Ryan Giggs, Steven Gerrard's, right? We're talking
these are
that
these are the names I've heard. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard all these, illustrious names. And it's like, okay. So
Yeah.
then the next question I ask to these other fans is, what has Dyer or Davies shown you in a consistent basis that is worth keeping around for 10 years? Like to me, you know me, I think everyone on this panel knows me well enough. I love my players, but if you can't play well, I love Lucas Moura, but he's overstayed his welcome too. Living off of one performance doesn't justify a 5-year, 10-year career. And to
Agreed.
me, Lo Celso having 4 out of 5 good performances this season, where he's been asked to perform well, 4 out of 5 doesn't negate. I used to say the 3 to 4 years of draws, but I didn't know it was 5. So now I get to correct myself. It's, again, 5 good games. Give that to me for 15 games, Giovanni Lo Celso. Then I'll reassess. The question's been getting thrown around. He's on 18 months. Should we re-sign Lo Celso? To me, why are we asking that already? We should be waiting until he's done this for at least 50% of a season until we can say yes or no, in my opinion.
I want a whole season, Jacob. I want a whole season. He's been here 5 years. Like, let's just put it like this. If we're talking about Lo Celso, for me, when everyone's fit, and yes, you need squad players, right? But when everyone's fit, he has not been Ange's go-to guy in any way, shape, or form. In front of him has been Sarr, Basuma, Bentancur, Madison, Kulu, all in that midfield, right? Now he's getting a game because a few of those are injured. So all better. Right. So for me, this is what I'm saying. If someone came in tomorrow, right, guys, and said, there's 30 million for Giovanni Lo Celso, surely you go, okay, let's go and get someone now that isn't injury prone, new blood, new lifeline. But we've got people saying, oh, I want to give him another chance. 5 years.
Yeah.
City wouldn't do this, and that's why they win league titles. We sit around and pretend we want to win league titles, but we want to keep all these bang average footballers.
See, I'm going to say something now, and some of the Spurs fan base might come for me, and I'll just be. This is me being honest, and I just really don't
welcome
care.
to my world.
I am getting to the point where I believe Spurs fans have accepted mediocrity. We haven't won a trophy for so long, so the players that come in, who show passion, who slap the badge and all that, and run around like a headless chicken and get stuck in occasionally and all that, and have a good 6 months to a year. Then all of a sudden, nostalgia kicks in, sentiment kicks in. Oh, we can't get rid of him. It's for the club. If you cut him open, Spurs through and through. No, I've had enough of this BS that happens with some of this fan base. It's ridiculous. It's me being absolutely honest. No way can we do this. Right? Harry Kane went in summer. He wanted to go. I was like, wish you all the best. Fair enough, but my club still comes first, and Spurs will still be here after Harry Kane goes. Harry Kane went. Spurs are still here. If it benefits Spurs to get rid of some of these players, like Lo Celso, we can get better than. Richarlison, we can get better than. Højbjerg, we can get better than. Skip, we can get better. I've even heard people in recent weeks say, but Sessegnon's not had a run in the team to see how good he can be.
I know.
I'm just like, enough to realise that saying stuff like this, to accept mediocrity players like this, and this means we're not going to kick on and win trophies that apparently you claim you want.
And the problem is, Alan, even with a Sessegnon, right, is what will happen is everyone will pretend it's like a new signing. Go, well, to be fair, we've not seen Sessegnon under Ange. Then he'll come back, he'll get an assist in a game, and we'll go, oh, you know what? I think there's a player in there, and it'll be like, oh God, we're doing it again. Like, I don't know about you guys. Inside me is such a drive, a thirst, a thrust for wanting better, for wanting to really show that we mean business. I want to be ruthless. I want us to be the club like the Liverpools and the Cities that go, that player signed, he's had 2 years, it's not really worked out. Thank you very much. No hard feelings. See you later. This player comes in. I want us to be that team. But we did this with Bergwijn. We did this with Winks for how many years? We did this with Sissoko, played here for about 5 years, right? We're doing it with Davinson Sanchez was here 6 or 7 years. We don't learn. We're not learning.
People are saying about Skip because he's come through the youth and all that. Look, you can have people
he's
come through the youth, come through the youth setup to the Spurs first team. Fantastic, but he's not good enough. Harry Winks was not good enough, and people still went to bat for them. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't care. Look, my favourite player, or one of my favourite players at Spurs, is Bentancur. If it comes to the point where he's no longer good enough, he can go. Simple as. Same with Maddison. If we can find something better and it comes to the fact that he can't do it, he can go. Same with Son. If he can't do it anymore and he can go, we can get somebody else in, he can go. My club, Tottenham Hotspur, will always come first above any name, any personality. Tottenham Hotspur come first. But nowadays, you've got people that are like, names come first, the club comes second. And
I think that's every fan base.
Bald has caused this.
Yeah, but
I think that's every fan base that does that. I think every fan base has certain fans that will go to the hill defending certain players regardless of how poor. I mean, even look at Manchester United. They're in a shambles right now, and people are still, defending Ten Hag. They're still. I think that's natural in every fan base, no matter what the results are. There's going to be people because they at some point probably told their friend, "Oh, I love this guy," and then he's not doing well. It's let's stick with him. And I think Sessegnon is one of those. Right, we loved what he did at Fulham before we signed him. That's why we signed him. But again, if you can't do it over a consistent basis, what good is that to me? I know for a fact Sessegnon was only kept on the roster for Ainge because he's a homegrown. We look how many
Same with Skip,
goalkeepers we had. Brandon Austin, Fraser Forrester, Alfie Devine. We had 3 goalkeepers that don't see the field at all. And they were just because they're English. We're in this weird transition period where things aren't going to look right. In our teenage years, when we were growing into our bodies, everyone kind of looked a little funky. That's just nature. That's how things go when things are changing at a rapid rate. So for me, I'm not like, too pressed. I know that it's going to be a painful process, but eventually Sessegnon will be gone. Eventually Hugo had to go, and he did. Dyer's next. And there's more. You just got to keep getting them out, get the new ones, and I agree. If they're not doing well like Højbjerg isn't, I mean, he was our most consistent midfielder for 2 years. Let's remember. But now, is he?
I think that says more about the quality of players that we actually had in midfield at that time. But one thing I don't want on this channel, can we not do this? This isn't Football Manager, guys. We aren't selling all the players and replacing them in one window. First of all, yes, it's not Football Manager. But in the same way, it kind of is. That's what football is, buying and selling players. Secondly, no one on this panel has said all of those players mentioned should go in one window. We're just having a general conversation.
But I just have to say something.
Let's not do that, please, Ben. Spurs, you always come in with these notions that we think it's Football Manager, and we don't, as far as I'm aware.
Very quickly, just go back to what Jacob's saying about like other fan bases have it. Look, I agree, other fan bases do, but I don't care what other fan bases do. They can appreciate mediocrity if they want and all that. That's all good for them. But I want. No,
I'm just saying you shouldn't use that as a reflection of like our entire fan base because there's a percentage of people who have wacky opinions. Of course.
No, it's not everyone, but there are a vast majority that I see. Like I saw a tweet with Skip being, because he's always happy and smiley. What a guy! He's a great guy. And like, fantastic, but he's not good enough for Spurs. I don't care about this. He's a good personality. Not good enough.
I think it's about winning.
Just quickly, sorry, Alex, I've got to let Jacob go. Dude, listen, thank you so much for coming. We are going to end the show in about 10 minutes anyway, but listen, Jacob, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Everybody, if somebody would be so kind in my one of my mods or members or somebody to put in United Spurs of America. Jacob, what are we on in terms of subscribers for your channel at the moment?
Slowly inching over to 3,400 or 3,500 or something like that. So we're slowly progressing, making our way over there. But look,
let me put it in.
I want to say this about Skip too before I go. Like, just because he's one of our own doesn't mean that he has to stay here. He can be one of our own somewhere else. There's plenty of times we grab someone else's one of their own and make them ours. I would say Sonny is ours and he wasn't one of our own. But again, like, family's all good and great, right? But if your uncle's constantly borrowing money, never paying it back, and every time you see him at the family function, he's acting a fool, eventually you gotta say, we're family, but I need to distance myself from you a little bit. Look at Winks. He's thriving at his level of competition. If we let Oliver Winks go somewhere, I think Oliver Skip, sorry. If we let him go somewhere, I think he could find that same success. Joe Roden, he's having a hell of a time in the championship. But again, when you find your level, you can excel there. And it's when we're trying to ask these guys to take that next step. I was so excited about Oliver Skip when he was Norwich Player Team of the Year. I was so excited about what he could become. But I've had enough time of looking at him to where it's like, I just don't think an elite Premier League level caliber team that this guy gets in on the bench at all.
But Jacob, we do this a lot in terms of like when we're looking at Ollie Skip, as I said with Gio Lo Celso. This is what I said about. Remember just now when I said we see a good game and then everyone thinks that's all it is, right? Like, look, Gio just ripped Bournemouth, the form team in the Prem. What more do you want? Now, first and foremost, Giovanni Lo Celso didn't rip Bournemouth. Go back and watch the game. Our whole midfield couldn't stop. Alex, you were there.
I was there.
How many times did Giovanni Lo Celso give the ball away?
He gave the ball away loads of times. I don't even know why this is even a subject.
It's madness.
This is the point I make. I think because we haven't won nothing, right? We're so making the case for some of our players, and that's the point I make. Yeah, it's not about us winning. Yeah, and because we haven't won anything, we're trying to big up players and putting them up there. You know what I mean? I see it with Arsenal fans as well. You see what I'm saying? And at the end of that's why there's legends in the game, and they're just good players, great players, and we ain't got legends on our team. Simple.
Speaking of legends of the game, all three of y'all are some legends of the game. Here's some balloons.
Big up.
Here's some balloons.
Big up, man. I'll tell you what, just quickly before you go, Jacob. There you go. There is the link to Jacob's channel. Listen, there's 268. Let's get 100. If 50 of you went over there immediately now, smash that subscribe button. What a lovely New Year's present. You don't have to leave this screen. Just press that button and subscribe. Jacob, much love, man. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate that. Hey, big up, everybody. Y'all have a great rest of the show. And big up the chat. Get the likes up. I'm sure whatever the likes are on right now is not enough. So get the likes up. Absolutely free to do so.
Get the lights up. Get the lights up. Yeah.
Good Jacob.
Look, boys, are you both okay for 10 minutes? And then we'll call it,
yeah,
call it a day? Just quickly, Alex, hang on. Sorry, just really quickly. I just want to say, I don't like it when people pass things off as fact. Like, how does this person here know that there's been no interest shown in Ollie Skip? One, have we put him on the transfer market? Two, how do you know there hasn't been, but we've said no because we need him for the homegrown quota? How do you know this? Do you work for the club? Just asking. Sorry, go on, Alex.
No, I just think it's just important that we. This is why I say, because I think you said something earlier, Savva, just a minute before Jacob went, that I think we can determine whether this is going to be a change in a few years' time. You know what I mean? This is why I'm waiting to be convinced at the moment, because yes, things are looking positive at the moment, but the thing for me for Tottenham is a few years' time, are we still doing that same trajectory at the moment? I think next season, because this season's there's no expectations, and I think that's why we're doing well at the moment. No expectations. When there's expectations on the team, you look what's happening with Newcastle at the moment. That's what I'm saying. You know, Brighton at the moment. You know, I just think for me at the moment, those questions will be answered in a few years' time. That's what I say at the moment, because then hopefully we'll see maybe a few trophies, maybe, or the mentality would with Postecoglou. And you know my feelings on Postecoglou. He don't like the mentality at Tottenham at the moment. He doesn't like it, and I think he's made it clear. I think he's made it well clear. Please, the chat, leave him alone.
I mean, Ben, sorry, but this guy Ben does this all the time. He just lies. I've not once said Spurs have been offered 30 million for Giovanni Lo Celso, have I?
No.
Didn't I say if Spurs were offered? Ben, stop. This guy comes into my YouTube comments after shows, and everything I've said, it's like he completely twists it. Dude, I've never said that. Oh my good God, Oh,
the end
it's
of the
hard
day,
work,
at the
isn't
end
it?
of the day, you can't. We can't be always. I had the problem. I had the problem with Winks, Dyer, Davis. Yeah, Davis has been not that bad, but the problem is the only credit you can give him is when Van der Ven comes in the back. He should be back in the team then, but he's going to go back into the team. So Davis hasn't done that great then, hasn't he? You know what I mean? He's going to be taken over his spot by Van der Ven.
I,
So
I think
this is
the
the point I
problem we have,
make.
Alex. I think the problem we have. It's like Davis is a great example. Davis has had to slip in because, obviously, the injuries that we've had. I think he's had some good games in that time, and I think he's had some really bad games in that time. Every time a player like Davis has a good game, people go, "Oh, there's a player there, keep him." He's been here 10 years. Like he's been here 10 years. Every time they have a bad game, oh, sell them.
Yeah.
Everything is so knee-jerk. Everything is so knee-jerk. Like I'm sitting here, the same thing that I did with Ndombele. When you've got a player that you've got a 5-year sample size and you say, right, what have you really had from Lo Celso or Ndombele, for example, in 5 years? Or Sessegnon? Nothing. In the grand scheme of things, a couple of goals, a couple of assists, no real, always injured. Sessegnon and Lo Celso always injured. Ndombele can't last a minute. No one wants to buy him. Like, at what point do we turn around and go, yeah, it didn't work? But what our fans do is we go, do you know what? There's a player in there because they've had a couple of good games. Like, I don't get it. But then they're the ones telling me that I'm negative because I don't think we can win the league.
Savva,
I
you're
want
not
better
negative.
footballers. No,
But
I know
so-
I'm not, Alex. I want better footballers at this football club. My point is this, right? Because what will happen, Alan, I can tell you what will happen, right? This will all be twisted. Savva hates Lo Celso. This is how it will get twisted.
Yeah.
My point is there are loads of footballers that need to leave the club before Lo Celso, right?
Yeah.
Those footballers that need to leave the club before Lo Celso aren't going to get any money. Dyer, Lloris, right? These people aren't going to get you any money. Tanganga's probably going to get you 5 million, if that, when he's sold. Roden will get you what, 10 million? Right? These people, Jed Spence, right? These people aren't going to make you money. The point is, at some point, if a club came in and said, right, Gio's got 18 months left on his contract. For me, I think we can get younger, fitter, hungrier, better engine and get a player in there that we go, a player that can play every game of the season or be in the squad every game of the season. That's my point. Not that I hate Lo Celso. He's a good player, but in patches. That. I just want to make that clear.
No, that's fair enough. Look, I'll just be brutally honest. He's not good enough for Tottenham Hotspur. It's as simple as that. But look, people go, oh, but like they show passion or they've got ability and all that. That's fantastic. But I hold my club to a really high level in the fact that I always want to win trophies and all that. But because of how we've been running the last 15 years, people go, oh, as long as we can get to top four, the players who are there and get us top four must be good enough. They're not good enough. People can say that they support and they want these players at the club. I have the right to say absolutely ridiculous. I don't want that. I don't want that at the club. You know, I can have the opposite effect. Doesn't make them not Tottenham fans. They just see or hold the club to a different level that I do, or they see Spurs going in a different way to what I do. But it doesn't mean you go, oh, somebody's saying this, somebody's saying that, because they're not saying it. I don't understand it. Or the fact that because I see things differently, how to some, I'm not a Spurs fan. That's the one that gets thrown out at me quite a lot recently. Because I have a different take on how I see Spurs moving forward or players and all that. Oh, you must not be a Spurs fan. I've supported Spurs for 30 years, so kiss my... it really winds me up. Because I didn't see Spurs winning in the league. You're not a Spurs fan. No. I'm just trying to be as real as...
But look, Alan, look what you get. This is what I love. This is what I love, right? This is what I love. It's like, I'd love to know who you bring in that would realistically come to us. I'm sorry. Aren't fans talking about wanting to win league titles? And now we're talking about who would come to us. Which one is it? Are we a club that want to win titles, or are we a club that don't think we can do better than Giovanni Lo Celso? Right? And when you say that we can afford, sorry, have we got no money? Aren't we mega rich? Like, what? Why? This is the thing. What do you want to be? Ange Ball, tell me what you want to be. If you want to win trophies and you want to win titles, How can you be going, who realistically would come to us? I could reel off 100 midfielders in the world across Europe that are better than Giovanni Lo Celso. But I don't know who they want to scout. That's why the scouts are paid to do it. Matt O'Reilly at Celtic, in a heartbeat. Matt O'Reilly from Celtic is a wonderful footballer. Yeah? In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Are you telling me he's not going to leave Celtic to come to Tottenham Hotspur?
So
Andrew's just left Celtic to come to the Tottenham Hotspur. So
right, exactly.
The last thing I'll say on this subject and all that, obviously, before you wrap up, Savva, is the fact that people don't want the likes of, because obviously for whatever reason, I don't want Højbjerg, Lo Celso, Skip, Sessegnon, for whatever reason, these players to go. Okay, you don't want them to go, but then who gets sold? Because you're not going to sell players that are good enough, which means then we have players here for a long period of time, like we have continuously for the last 10 years. And then what? You don't improve, because Angelotti can only take certain people, this team so far. You need better players to do it. So if we don't sell these players that aren't good enough, who do we sell? Or do we keep the same 22 for the next 3 seasons? And
no one wants anyone sold, Alan. This is the thing. Like the other day, we literally went through it. I think I can't remember who I was streaming with. And it was like, right, somewhere across the team, you've got to make funds. Somewhere you have to make funds. Man City every year sell players. Every year. Now, what Man City have done that they've got over us, they've got lots of things over us, is Man City will bring through 20-year-olds and sell them for 15, 20 million. And they sell enough of them. They sell Cole Palmer, 40, 45 million. They sell players, right? So they bring in money. So they're now self-sustainable. Yeah? Chelsea have done it for years until this last year and a half madness. Chelsea have done it for years, selling players, right? Liverpool do it. Liverpool sell players. Spurs our fan base seems reluctant to, I know it's not the fan base's choice, but we seem reluctant. Like, if I go across the back line, right, I'm not suggesting you sell Van der Ven or Romero or Dogi or Porro, right? But Dyer's going to make you no money. Ben Davis is going to make you no money. Tanganga's going to make you no money, and Rodon's going to make you no money, right?
You're not really going to make you much money.
Sessegnon's going to make you any money either. Now you go into midfield. Højbjerg, well, you could probably get something for him if he goes now. If it goes to the summer and he's got 12 months left, he's going to be worth nothing. Lo Celso is worth something now. But if you get to the summer, hardly anything. Skip, we won't sell him because of homegrown. You're not selling Sarr. He's just signed a 6-year contract. Oh, not saying we'd want to. You're not selling Sarr or Bentancur or Basuma or Maddison, right?
Yeah.
You're not selling Brennan Johnson. You've just signed him for 50 million.
No,
you're not selling Sonny, right? Valise has just joined. Perisic is going to walk on a free.
Kulusevski's just
Kulusevski's just signed. You suggest selling Richarlison. Oh, no, we got to keep. So this squad we want to build and rotate and change up. How do we do that if no one wants any player who's worth any money to be sold?
Yeah.
And you know what? It's because we're so emotionally attached to footballers that have done nothing. In the summer, right? Do you remember, Alex, we did so much together in the summer. You remember the people, Ange will get a tune out of Ndombele. He's got another year in him. Give him a chance. And you're like, it just baffles me that people still want to give footballers that have done nothing for years and years and years a chance. And you've got to get some money in.
Here's the thing. I was one of them people that said I think Ange could get the best out of Ndombele, and he's the one that broke the straw that broke the camel's back. Or what? It's one of them things where he wasn't good enough. Like, he didn't have the motivation, so he's gone. So now all this attachment and everything like that for me no longer. Club before players, simple.
I said straight away. I said to you, Alan. I told you, Alan, about Ndombele. I said no, sorry, I can't give him any more chances. I'm done with it. With it. Sorry, couldn't do it. I'm not having to go. It's a easy track to fall into. But I sat there and thought, how many times can you do this guy a chance? Sorry, you're done. You're done. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. And I agree with you, Alex. But you also said,
I'm not having to go at you.
No, it's fine. You also said Bentancur was rubbish and told me it to my face at the stadium. You're wrong about that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Back on my stream after the fact and told me how bad he was. And I was like, you told me 2 days ago that he was great. So, no, I'm missing Alex. I'm missing.
It is what it is. You know what I mean? But like I said, I think we should.
But look at the amounts, Alex. Like someone's saying, we'd easily get 15. 15 million isn't a lot of money. 10 million isn't a lot of money. Right there, you're basically what we're saying there is if Rodon and Sessegnon are 25 million between them, that just about pays for a Dragusin. Like you listen, all I'm going to say is we've got to make a decision, right? We've got to make a decision at some point of, are we ruthless? Do we really, really want to be ruthless and win trophies? Or do we want to keep giving players a chance and blaming every manager that's been before? So apparently Conte, right, and Jose, serial winning managers, are at fault for Giovanni Lo Celso not having done anything for 4 years in a Tottenham shirt. That doesn't work for me. There's been plenty of midfielders throughout the lifetime that have thrived under Jose and Conte. Yeah. Plenty. Yeah, Makaleli, Lampard, right? Yeah. We're talking about Cesc Fabregas, Matic, right? We're talking Barella. But all of a sudden, our players come. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. Look, guys, let's call it a day there. Listen, I love the football chats. Just remember, everyone in the chat, it's only football. It's only football, guys.
We'll see what happens, Savva.
No, it's not. It's life and death. No, I'm joking. It's fine.
It's life and death.
We'll see what happens, Savva. And I mean, hopefully this season will finish okay. I think we'll finish okay. A good position. But next season, the season after, we'll see what happens. If Ange's happy, and I still think he will not be here after 2 years, because I think he'll go to somewhere else that maybe he's his own man. I think he'll go somewhere else. Because he's got the personality and whatever he's got and stuff. But at the moment, I just think we just have to wait and see whether everything that they said in June is what was meant, what they meant it. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Can I just very quickly debunk this? Ange Ball, thanks for the comment and all that. Just to end this very quickly. Okay, that's fair enough. We've waited all this time to see the Celso, but weren't we saying this about Emerson Royale? We took 18 months to see Emerson Royale for 6 months good, and then he went back to being Emerson Royale. You can't wait this long and hope a player gets better for a little bit. You've got to just be like, fair enough, he's showing a bit, but he's not good enough for this club. It's as simple as
that. What I love about it, hang on, Sean's turned up. Sean, hey, wow, Sean, that is interesting.
Forgot my hat. Alan, my hat wasn't on.
Alan, you need to go, right?
I do need to go. Yeah, I do.
Alan, you go. Alex, are you staying? We can go for another few minutes.
I will leave you two to it because I'm already in trouble.
I only wanted to come on to bury Alex. I might as well disappear again then.
Sean, that pleasure will be another time. But I'm in a confined space where I don't think I'm allowed to be Mr. Box Office. I've got to be respectful to some of these. But anyway, moving on. I'll see you a lot later. Thank you for inviting me, Savva. I do appreciate it.
No worries, mate. Listen, thank you guys. Take care, and I'll see you both later. See you guys.
I wanted to come in just quickly, even though the darts. By the way, someone's asking who won the game. The darts is still going on. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, I've got it on in the background.
The point I heard you talking about like valuations on players, right? And then you sort of summarized it by saying, "Oh yeah, if we sell Sessegnon and Joe Rodon, you get enough for a Radu Dragusin. Apparently, it's Dragusin. I figured out today. The S is pronounced with a H. But the point that I wanted to come on and add to you there is that a lot of the people that are saying, not people in this particular comment section, but I see it all over Twitter. A lot of people that are going, yeah, just sell Rodon for like, you know, 8 million, 5 million, whatever. They're the same people that are saying, just pay the money. Just pay the 30 million euros that Genoa want. Right?
Oh, I know where you're coming from.
You're saying like, just take, pay whatever someone wants for any player. It doesn't matter if we've done any valuation metrics. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Pay them what they want. Right? And at the same time, just take whatever someone will offer for the players that you have. What is like, these people would never be able to run a business if they charged their prices and paid their suppliers with the same sort of mindset. It's oversimplification, and it is the recipe for why we can't ever have what we want. Because if you're spending too much on players and you're not getting enough for players, or at least asking, at least finding some sort of negotiation middle ground, then there's never going to be enough money to go around, is there?
But this is why the thing for me, Sean, is I don't. You know me, I don't really get emotionally attached to footballers or managers or anything, right? other than my dogs, right? For me, I just feel that sometimes when there are players, like for example, like with a Richarlison, like when people are saying, like I said, if it's all hypothetical, right? If a £50 million bid came in from Saudi, would you take it? People going, oh no, he scored 5 and 5. For me, that's the perfect opportunity when you go, cut your losses. 50 million. Even if you have to then add another 10, 15 of your own money on, go and buy someone much better than. But what
do you
we
want
do
a
is
player? Most people know how I feel about Richarlison. I think most people might know how you feel about it. Both of us were not really on board with the transfer, and thus far we've been right for 18 months, been wrong for about 18 days, right? Like in terms of his form is kicked up, but he is. I'm delighted to be wrong. I want to continue to be wrong about him. I want him to go and score 12, 15 goals this year. Of course I do, but I think he is a form player. He's a momentum player, and the second something goes wrong, I think you'll start to see the momentum fall, and he might drip back into his old ways, right? I know people saying, "Oh, he's been injured. He's been playing with an injury." Not for 18 months. He hasn't. Come on. There's always an excuse. Before the injury, it was someone was taking advantage of him back at home. Before then, it was something else. Like there's always an excuse, and then as soon as something goes right, I'm back to my best. And as soon as something goes wrong, there'll be something else that he's moaning about. You know?
Yeah. Do you know what the thing for me as well is? Even when you say we've been wrong for 18 days or whatever it is, I don't even think we have shown in those games. Some of those goals,
he could have had a hat trick in most of those games.
His actual football, all-round football game is so poor.
He's so poor.
You watched him at the weekend, right? Yeah, he swept home that goal. Sean, I would expect any Premier League centre forward to sweep that home. Watch the rest of his game.
And that's not the only one. This is the second time in 3 games that Brennan Johnson put it on an absolute plate for him. But you ask him to control the ball. You ask him to build play up. You ask him to do something with some sort of. I know he's never going to be a Harry Kane, but there's strikers out there that can come and connect the dots. Come and be a part of the process rather than just sitting there to finish the dinner. And I don't think he's the guy.
But this is what I mean. Listen, I always talk about, I don't know, on my channel about consistency. And the thing is, I don't want to judge a player based on 4, 5, 6, 7 games. And I feel like football fans tend to quite a lot. But you're right. I can't sit and watch the performances I've seen from Richarlison for the last 18 months. And then people going, oh, have you got your apology letter for Richie? Sorry, for what? Sorry, what, for the £60 million player that's managed to score 5 goals at last? Like, what are we talking about? Like, it's just mad. I'll ask you this question. FA Cup final, or last game of the season to win a league title. The ball falls 20 yards out to Richarlison. He's got to beat one man, take a touch out his feet and bury it. Do you trust him?
No, of course not. That's just not him.
I don't want him at my club then. I don't want him at my club. Do you trust 100%. Sonny to do it? A lot more than I trust Richarlison.
Right. A lot more.
City would trust
in that scenario,
to do it, right? But Liverpool would trust Salah to do it.
But there's other scenarios where, just to play devil's advocate and to be balanced here, there's other scenarios where you probably would trust Richarlison more than any other player in the team. Like if the ball gets whipped in and it's a delicious ball onto the edge of the 6-yard box in the 90th minute of the FA Cup final, would you rather have Sonny to finish it or Richarlison? I'd rather pick Richarlison in that scenario, right? But
sure. You know what I mean? I mean, in general, I just I look at Richarlison and I think, and again, this is all ifs. If someone we'll take 50 million or we'll put 50 million down for him, Spurs would be absolutely crazy to turn around and go.
Bite your hand off for 50 million. As long as you had a short list of players that you knew were, that you could go and get. And, I don't know. The problem is that the number 9 market is few and far between, which is why, that Dominic Solanke valuation is as high as it is. Is he an 80 million pound player? Of course he's not. He's nowhere near it. A 70 million pound player? Of course not. But you've got the multiplier effect of a homegrown number and the fact that he plays in a position which is in high demand and short supply. And there's not many others around, right? So if you are going to sell Richarlison for 50 million quid, what do you do with the money is the crucial part of that conversation. Do you have a green light to go and get a Santiago Jimenez or that's Serhu Guirassy? Man United are going after him. I think that's madness. He's one season and nothing for 10 years of his life.
But doesn't Solanke and Guirassy sum up everything I'm trying to talk about here? Solanke and Garassi are what, 27?
Yeah.
Both of them, I think they're both about 27, 28, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I think Slanky's 26, but nearly 27.
26.
Yeah.
You look at their careers, right? You look at their careers and you go, oh, God. And yet a purple patch, half a good year, and people start going, I think you should buy this guy for 60, 70 million. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why?
Yeah.
Why? And that's not just Spurs fans, by the way. That's all fans. For me, if you're gonna spend 60, 70 million on a player, like when we bought Richarlison, I want a bloke that's best ever season was not 13 league goals, of which 5 were penalties.
Yeah, you want a
Do you know
player
what I
whose
mean?
worst ever season was 7 or 8 goals. You want a player who's been doing it, you know, who's always been capable. Now, look, Dominic Solanke, like I think he came through Liverpool, didn't he? He was at Liverpool. I think he was at I think there was 2 other clubs he was at before Bournemouth. Well, I think that Dominic, what's this? I hate Richarlison higher than Kane in the new. I rate Richarlison higher than Kane in the new system.
I've got no words to say to that. I'm afraid. I've no words to say to that.
I thought Richarlison did play well against Bournemouth. I thought he pulling players out of position. I thought his hold up play was the best I've seen it. But you know what? It still wasn't anything more than a 7.5, 8 out of 10 because he missed absolute sitters. And you know, if that's the best you've seen out of Richarlison in 19 months, then you haven't got your money's worth. But like I say, I go back to the same question, right? If you do, I don't expect Saudi Arabia to come knocking in January. But if they were to come knocking for 50 mil, and you took it, where do you think Tottenham would go to find the replacement?
I mean, as I've always said, I like Santiago Jimenez, but I think for me the key thing is whenever we have these conversations, this is what we've just implemented a really expensive recruitment team to do, isn't it? This is why we brought in Scott Munn and Johan Lang and Paratici's there, and what was his name, Rob something.
Rob McKenzie.
Who's the other scout? Rob McKenzie. This is their job, right? But for me, I don't know. Listen, I don't know whether I'm.
Would you take that player? Would you have a crack at that guy, Victor Gyökeres, the Swedish guy who played Coventry and then went to Portugal and has continued he's been banging them in Portugal as well, hasn't he? But is it?
Yeah. But I would take him over Richie all day long, but he's got €100 million release clause. So,
oh really?
Yes, okay. Yeah. Listen, those Portuguese teams don't mess about.
They're not stupid, are they?
No, you watch this last couple of days. I've seen both Sporting Lisbon and Benfica have bought a young kid from Brazil. I bet you in 2 years' time they sell those 2 young kids from Brazil to someone like Inter Milan for about 60 million or something. They don't look. For me, I just think we've seen so many good strikers at our club over the years. So many good strikers at our club.
How much did Coventry sell that Gyökeres for?
I don't even know.
Let's have a look. I've got it here. Hang on a second. He was at Brighton, by the way. He was at Brighton's academy. He went from IF Bromma, whoever they are, some Swedish team, to Brighton in 2018 for 500 grand. And then was loaned out to St. Pauli in Germany. And then went to Swansea on loan, then Coventry on loan in 2021. So Brighton signed another player that Brighton signed under their brilliant system. He eventually moved to Coventry for 1 million. So they only made 500 grand on it. And then Coventry then sold him for 13 million euros. And he's now worth 13. 13. So 10 million quid. So Coventry sold him to Sporting for 10 million pound, and he's now valued at 50.
100 million euros.
Well, yeah, 100 million is his buyout, but 50 million is the market value. I mean, Brighton must be kicking themselves, and so must Coventry, right?
I mean, I'll tell you what. Even tonight, like I'm watching. I watch these lot quite a lot. Girona play, and even the guy up front for Girona, Dovbyk. I probably butchered his name there. Just again, can control a football, can bring people into the game. You know, when it goes into a player and it sticks, I always watch Richie and I think, this isn't going to stick. This is going to bounce right back at us.
He's got really big, heavy feet, hasn't he? It's like wearing clown shoes or something. I
just don't like footballers like that. And, you know, like I'm looking him up here now. Artem Dovbyk. He's got 11 in 17 this year. He got 24 in 30 last year, 14 and 17 the year before. Now, obviously, before Girona, he was playing in the Ukraine, but he's gone from the Ukraine, he's gone into La Liga, scoring goals for fun there for the team that are second in the table.
How old is he?
Just 26. And you look at players, and I'm thinking, this is one example, Sean, purely because I'm watching the game.
Yeah.
There's got to be strikers all over world football that you watch and go, I wish Richarlison could do that. Do you know what I mean? But a few goals cloud the judgment.
Yeah,
a few goals.
I think a lot of people a lot of people just, and I think Tottenham are guilty of this. I think a lot of teams are guilty of this generally, is they wait until a player moves. Like, we don't take the risk on the player from Iceland who's playing for the Iceland Professional League or the Slovenian League, right? We wait until somebody else takes the risk in a relatively decent league and then also bangs in 15 goals. Like, Manchester United are now paying attention to Serhou Guirassy. Like, where, if you fancy him now, where were you for the last? He's been around the block. He's been in France for the last 5 years.
Let's have a look at him.
I know he's banging them in this year, but I don't think he's done particularly well previously.
So Serhou Guirassy is 28 in 2 months. Now, this is his career, right? He's played for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's played for 7 clubs, right?
Yeah, journeyman, yeah.
Right. Starting in the 14-15 season, working the way up, right? He got 14-15, he got 6 goals. 15-16, he got 8 goals. 16-17, he got 2 goals. 17-18, he got 4. 18-19, he got 5. 19-20, he got 9. 20-21, he got 11. 21-22, he got 9. 22-23, he got 12. This year, 17. So before this year, his best ever season was 12.
Yeah.
So I'm asking a question.
In 38 games or something, 1 in every 3, basically.
He got 12 in 33, which is not, don't get me wrong, it's not
bad, is it?
Dreadful, but to buy him now, does that tell you that you are buying him for the long term? Is that part of the plan, or are you purely buying him because right? Okay, there we go. There we go.
Like, you're waiting until, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an analogy off the top of my head, but like, I can't think of one. But you're waiting until the kind of the proof is in the pudding, and then you're going to pay. And look, let's be honest, like those numbers you called out, they are the kind of gradual, general kind of improvement. Like, but he hasn't exactly done much to. I don't know what's his valuation. So look, are you on track? You're on market. Yeah.
No. The app I'm on, they valued him at 39 million, but hasn't he got like a ridiculously cheap release clause?
Yeah, he's got I think he's got like a 17 million release clause. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then look, let's do this then. Let's have a look. Let's be consistent. I want to be consistent. I'll even bring it onto the screen. Let's have a look at, what's his name? Richarlison. Right. Now, when people tell me he'll come good and he just needs confidence and injuries and whatever, I'm going to have a look here and show you what he's done in his career, right? Now, this isn't me having a dig at him. He is what he is, right? But look at that, right? If you look at his career, his best ever season in all competitions was 15. In all competitions, his best ever league season is 13 goals.
Yeah.
And I'm meant to be saying sorry.
How much did Everton pay Watford for him? A lot of money as well, right? Didn't they pay like 40 million quid for him or something? I'm sure they paid a fortune for him.
Richarlison transferred to follow a fellow Premier League team for a transfer fee starting at 35 million and potentially rising to 50.
That was the Watford one, was it?
That was Watford to Everton.
Yeah.
Watford bought him for 11.2 million from where was he? From
Everton took a massive punt on someone that had scored 4 goals for Watford. Is that what he said? 4 goals? I think he said 4 goals or something, isn't it? On the first sheet you were looking at.
Watford, five goals in 41 games, and then they spent 35 million on him.
Yeah, wow.
And then this is a guy, right, that doesn't score many goals, right, but gets sold for big money. He's gone from 35 million, having scored 5 goals,
because he wears a certain number on a certain coloured shirt, right?
The last look at his last, right. So if we look at his last 3 seasons before we signed him, if we have a look, 40, 80, 110, 113, 114 games. Yeah, 15, 28. What's that? 39 goals. And it's sort of like
he's a 1 in 3. He's a 1 in 3 guy, isn't he? He scores 1 in 3. You know?
Yeah, but for me, I want better than you. Got to listen. We can't go from Harry Kane, who was like 1 in 1 or whatever
he was 2 in 3. He was 2 in 3, wasn't he? Harry Kane to a 1 in 3 guy. That's a massive difference.
But the thing is, listen. By the way, while he's here and he scores goals, I'm never going to knock that. You scored a goal, fair play.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm delighted that he's scoring goals. Like, people think that people criticize me, like people bookmark my tweets from like 3 years or from a year ago. Waiting. They've been waiting for a Richarlison twist of form to come back and say, "I told you so." Fill your boots. If my opinion means that much to you, then
yeah. But
what does that
the problem is, I saw earlier on someone posted in my YouTube. Was it today or yesterday? And it was something I posted like 18 months ago. I can't even remember what it was. It was about Kulusevski or something. And like, look at this is the worst opinion I've ever seen. He's amazing now. And I was like, whoa. I was like, first of all, you've gone back 18 months to find an opinion. Second of all, you've really elevated how good he is. Like, amazing. You know, like nothing can be, he's doing well. And I can turn around and go, yeah, to be fair, he is doing well. But it's everyone's shit or amazing, Sean. There's no in between.
Yeah.
There's
no, of course, mate.
There's no in between. People are worried about your flat cap.
I don't know where it's gone. I think Bugsy's taken it somewhere. It was. I thought I had it on my head when I came on, to be honest. And now I don't know where it is. So I think Bugsy might have come in. I went downstairs to get a bit of toast a minute ago, and when I came back up, obviously, it's not here. So I think Bugsy's
by the way,
on the steal again.
Bugsy, yeah, they're always stealing stuff. If ever I can't find something, I go to my dog's basket. Right? If ever I can't find something, I know it's going to be there. Like the other night when I was going out, I couldn't find one of my loafers.
Yeah.
And I was like screaming at the wife, going, "Where's my loaf? I don't know. Have you tried here? It's not there. I'm blaming her." She, typical. You've moved it. I've not moved it. You're always moving things. Leave my stuff where it is. Well, if you cleared up all this sort of stuff, and then I'm like, found it. Where was it? It's in Frank's bed. Do you know what I mean? Like a really expensive shoe, like with slobber on it. Like, oh, mate, cheers, Frank.
I've got 3 hats that are exactly the same, right? And one of them's the home kit, like, and it's the one that I like to wear the most. And I couldn't find it once. I couldn't find it for like a week and a half. I kept saying on the on my videos, I was like, I don't know where the home kit's gone. In the end, I found it in the bottom of Bugsy's toy box, but it was like 4 levels deep. Right? So she's put it in there. She's got taken a ball out or a toy out or whatever, and gone back over the course of like 8 or 9 days, and kept replacing it until it got to it's found itself right at the bottom of the toy box, covered in balls and slobber and stuff. So
they just love burying stuff. By the way, just quickly, Jonas. By the way, I don't know if anyone in the chat was giving you hate. I think the difficulty is, mate. I mean, if we're suggesting that Harry Kane wouldn't have looked better in this system than Richarlison, I don't know what to say to you. One of the best strikers in world football for the last decade. I think Harry Kane would have looked sensational in this in this system, but it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. And by the way, for anyone watching the darts, Luke Humphreys did beat Luke Littler 7-4 in the end. But what an amazing run from the 16-year-old. Sean, look, I won't keep you, mate. I won't keep you. I think we're live tomorrow together on your channel, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
5?
Yeah, I've got to sort that out. We have to think of a name for the show and stuff. I've got to do all that stuff tomorrow. But
yes,
5
we
o'clock.
can do this.
5 o'clock on Spurs Talk Show, and then we're doing 5 o'clock on Friday nights, Friday evenings on yours, right on here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So content for everybody. Listen, thank you so much for everyone in the chat. Please always remember it is just football at the end of the day. My opinion, Sean's opinion, yours opinions isn't going to change anything. We're just here chatting about football. Much love, big up. Please get over and subscribe to Spurs Talk Show. Thank you very much to everybody who has subscribed in the last 2 days. We've now done about 85 subscribers in the last 2 days, which is really, really good. Really nice of you. Get over and subscribe to Sean. Thank you for the 3 new channel members tonight. And as always, come on, you Spurs.